What's cracking, peoples? Today we're going to talk about my most favorite beat 'em up game of all time, Streets of Rage 2. This game, we got the day it came out. I tell you, man, we looked everywhere. This game was sold out, and it was money well spent. We still play it to this day. We're going to go over every level, every boss fight, where all the free men are, and really dig into this game and have a little fun. So here we go. Smack 'em! Alright, so let's do this. So right off the bat, where that little mailbox is, bottom left corner, there's a free man right down there. You'll see Skate go down and get it. There we go. And that's the first secret of the game as soon as you start. In this playthrough, my brother is Skate and I'm Max. And this playthrough is being played on the Mania Mode difficulty, which is the absolute hardest difficulty you could possibly have in this game. If you don't know how to put it in Mania Mode, I'll go ahead and put the code for Mania Mode in the description below. Also, real quick, if I can get a like or subscribe to this video, that would be great. It would really help me out and I'd greatly appreciate it. Now back to this game. Basically, Mania Mode gives all the enemies extra power, and of course they hit a little harder. And so you're going to come down this street, and right there in those two trash cans is some help. For those of you that are having a hard time, just right off the bat, like you see I am with Max. In Streets of Rage 2, the apples give you a small amount of health back, and the turkey or chicken, or whatever it is, gives you full health. For those of you that might be some old school players, this whole first level reminds me of a knockoff, basically, of Ninja Turtles, the arcade game from 1989. The first level, even the way the level starts, and then you go down that little street and you come to where you are, or where we are right now on screen. All this is exactly how the first level starts for that game as well. So I always thought that was pretty funny that they basically copied Ninja Turtles, if you ask me. So as you get through this little section, there's going to be more health, but there's going to be another apple available in those two trash cans at the top, and then there'll be some money for those of you that are trying to get high scores. So once you finish going down the street, you're going to come to a entrance of a bar, and there's going to be your first mini boss of the game. So right at the end here, there's two turkeys and these signs, and you see Max tried to go for it and he died trying to get it. And Skate tried to get his, and Skate dies trying to get his. So yeah, just know that it's there, and if you're in trouble, try to get there as fast as possible, or you might die like the two of us just did. So this guy Jack is your first mini boss of the game. He's not very hard. He does kind of creep up on you pretty quick and sock you really fast, but nothing really particular you gotta be ready for. He's pretty easy. Now you'll enter the second part of stage 1 when you go inside this bar. Have to fight your way through a wave of enemies. As you can see, there's more health in the first table when you first enter this section. And usually by now you're going to need it, because as you can see, they throw a wave of enemies with tons of health at you. This second table will also have health in it. It'll have an apple. So you're going to continue to fight your way through all these waves of enemies till you get to the end of this nightclub or bar or pool hall, whatever this place is. And you see the bartender there? He's actually the final boss of this level. And he's going to run away, but before you get to him, you're going to have to fight this chick Electra. And we basically try to just get her in between the two of us and then slowly punch her, one of us on each side. And that just stops her from jumping around and becoming more of a pain in the ass. And get it over with, because you're really going to need all your health and power, especially with the setting we're playing it on Mania. So that's how we beat her, and let's continue on to the main boss of this level. All main bosses in this game have full health of turkeys available, so those two trash cans have full health in them. You're definitely going to need it, as you can see. In this boss fight, obviously you're going to have to fight through a wave of enemies just to even get close to this guy. And you want to definitely eliminate all of the ads. Try to work your way onto him, but he's really slippery, and as you can see, he's got that kick, and he can grab you, as you see right there. So you're really going to have to make the most of your chances on this guy, again, while fighting through all these ads that come also. And there we are, level 1 complete. You can see I'm struggling with Max with only 3 lives. My brother's doing quite nice with Skate, whooping everybody's ass. So this level is all about these motorcycle guys they throw at you while you're fighting these other enemies. These dudes on motorcycles are flying around high and low. And you kind of don't know when they're coming, so definitely have to be ready at all times. So not too much further from here, there's going to be 2 canisters, and one of those canisters is going to have an apple. So if you're already in trouble by this point, at least you have a little bit of health you can get from that apple. And a little bit up from here, there's going to be 2 more canisters, and one of them will also have an apple. So after all this BS, you're finally going to reach about the end of this little road. And those 2 canisters are going to have full health in it for you, and you've definitely gone through a lot, so I'm betting you're going to probably need those really bad by the time you get to this part. And the good news is there's another free man secret coming up real soon. Things can get a little crazy in here. At least one of these has an apple in it, and I would save it till you really need it, because they're gonna throw a shit ton of guys at you. So one of the really cool things about Max is he's the only player that once he grabs that pipe, he can hit people from behind him and in front of him with the pipe. It's freaking hilarious. So, the free man secret, if you follow where Max is going, it's in that top left corner. And there you go, another one up. So now we're getting towards the boss. There's an apple right there. And these barriers have some things inside of them. When you get down to the end of this little road here, there's going to be 2 barriers that have turkeys inside them for full health. And obviously you can see you have 2 apples that came out of this section right here. And you're gonna need all of it, because this S gets intense. So once you reach these barriers, you know you've reached the end of the level, and the bosses will be on the other side. And the boss in this level is these flying guys that shoot down and punch you and go across the screen. And then you have to fight not only those 2 guys, but then you have to fight all the ads that come with them, just like the first level boss. So one of the flying guys, Jet is his name, has more power than the other. The other guy is kind of like a mini boss and his little sidekick. And the key is timing. You gotta time it. You see Max, just keep timing him when he drops down. Keep timing it, hitting him. It's really hard to hit them while they're in the air. The good news is, we know that and he's almost already dead. Almost had him, and look at that, all hell breaks loose that quickly. All he needs is one more hit. Now that that's complete, onward to level 3. Max, myself, is just barely hanging on. Let's see how far we can go without having to continue with Max. So this level, it's like they have you at some amusement park like Disneyland or something. And you're kind of walking through the amusement park, whooping everybody's ass. So now you go into this next section and you can bust open those arcade games, and the arcade games down towards the bottom, they have a apple inside if you need some health at this point. So there you can see the apple I was talking about. And just a side note, these guys with those yellow jackets, they're really a pain in the ass. You can see they just walk up to you and grab you. The way they even move is like really weird. They kind of walk around you and grab you somehow. They just are one of the harder enemies to kind of figure out how to approach them. So you'll fight another swarm of enemies in this area. And then you'll move right along to this top section of the boat. And then from here you'll go to the very top of the boat and fight a whole nother swarm of enemies with these ninja guys. Now these ninja guys, they move hella awkward. There's also a free man here, as you can see. I don't really call that one a secret because it's right there in that crate. So I don't really consider that a secret, but it is still good to know that at this point you can get a free man. Decide between the two of you if you're playing with two players who wants it. Back to what I was talking about though, these ninja guys are coming up soon. That guy right there hiding up in the corner, these guys move so awkward, and then when they strike super fast. So I'd probably say they're the most, as far as the regular enemies go, they're the biggest headache out of all of them. And then from here, they'll put you back down on the main street of the amusement park. And you'll probably recognize all these enemies. They're most of the enemies are most of the mini bosses from the first level. But instead of just one of those chicks with the whip, you have two of them, and together they're extremely annoying. So you'll notice Max has this backbreaker move that he picks people up from behind and kind of breaks their back on his knee. That move right there, and that move basically takes off the most power in all game. And now for the final stretch of this level, like this creepy haunted house area slash, kind of reminds me of a cemetery for some reason. And there is a free man hiding in this level, and I'll show you exactly where it is. So remember, I just mentioned there's another free man secret in this level. If you line yourself up right where that head is and go down as much as possible, there's a secret hidden right down in the ground that you can't see. It's a free man. And there it is, I just picked it up. So what you want to do with this little mini boss is just someone get on each side and just hit that head back and forth. You kind of got to line it up perfectly, but once you get it, it works out great. Or you can just go right there in the middle and just keep kicking his head or hitting his head, whatever works best. But you get the idea. The thing bounces back and forth, or you can bounce it into the other player and actually cause damage to them. So you're basically about to be at the end of the level and be where the boss is. If you go to the right as much as possible, then you're gonna have the boss spawn and have to fight both these blue ninja headache punk ass guys. So what we try to do is not go further, and then as you can see, one of us messed up and went too far, and now we have to fight all three of these guys. The good news is there's 2 turkeys for full power for each player, so hopefully that makes a difference. And so this guy, we call him the Blanca guy because it reminds us of the dude from Street Fighter. You gotta get your hands on him, and it's really hard. Skate's making it look pretty easy in this video, but it's really not that easy. I think he's just played so much he knows, has a good feel for where to be. But this guy is really hard to get your hands on. And he gets out of a lot of things too. You can't really grab him. If you grab him, you have to react instantly or he'll get out of it. And then as you can see, you can do like the spin move, almost just like Blanca. So yeah, this guy's a pain in the ass. I think the best strategy is one person get on the right side, another person get on the left side, and try to keep him in between the 2 of you, and just each player jump in and try to get some hits when they can. And that's level 3 in the books. On to level 4. So this level takes place on some type of baseball stadium. So you start off outside of the park and you're basically making your way onto the baseball field. And in the background you can see the amusement park that you just came from in the previous level. So get towards the end of this little run and you'll see there's those 2 garbage cans. One of them has an apple inside. So now you're inside the stadium, and you'll fight yet another swarm of guys until you get to this elevator that takes you from the pitcher's mound all the way down somewhere. I don't even get what's going on in that elevator, honestly. So after you kill this swarm of guys, you're going to come across 2 crates. Those 2 crates each have money inside. So after those crates, the next group of crates you'll come across is when you encounter these 2 ladies here, and this crate has an apple inside of it. It looks like Skate could use it really badly about right now in this. And the good news is there's a bunch of crates coming up right after this section again. There's 3 crates, I believe, and 2 of them have apples in it. So kind of come across 3 apples all in the same area. And as you can see, you really need it. They throw a lot of guys at you here. So right here is the end of the road in this section. There's going to be these fat guys that blow out fire from their mouth. And once you defeat these guys, that baseball or that pitching mound is going to go basically an elevator that takes you down below, where you'll find the final boss. So the way this elevator works, they throw a small amount of guys at you at first, and each wave gets progressively harder with more and more guys, and a couple of mini boss guys they throw in there as well. When you get to these group of guys, you know this is the last wave. It can be a pain in the ass, but the cool part about Streets of Rage is that you can throw, the enemies into each other, which really helps for crowd control. And that's what we try to do as much as possible. And now for the main boss of this level. So this guy is basically a rip-off the Ultimate Warrior, and I love it. This guy is so crazy. He goes in and out of the screen, like he'll go all the way out to the parts of the screen that you can't see, and then you gotta just like be ready for when he's gonna rush you like that right there. You see how fast he ran out of the screen? And so he could run right back into the screen, and then he's also hard to grab. As you can see, Skate tried to grab him and just broke out of it. So it's like if you throw this guy, you gotta be quick, no hesitation, hurry up and throw him. And mainly you just gotta be ready for the times when he runs himself out of the screen. You gotta kind of like gauge it and try to dodge it as best you can. Level 4 complete. There isn't any real secrets or free men on that level, so that kind of sucks, but either way, it's all over. Which takes us to level 5. We're basically on a boat that is taking us to an island, which will be level 6, the island level. So you're going to continue to fight your way all the way along till you reach this part right here, which is the end of this first section that you have to walk through. So this is where things start getting interesting. They're going to throw these kickboxer guys with the red shorts after you, and as you can see, they kick so fast, it's ridiculous. And then they can also block your attacks. So you got that mixed in with the regular guys, and you got one of the bosses from the first level, the main guy, thrown in the mix. Inside those 2 crates are some turkeys, which will give you full health. So try to at least help you out a little bit, because you're going to end up using your super abilities quite often, because they just team up so many guys on you that you can't help but have to use the area attacks. And when you use the area attacks in this game, it takes off a little bit of your power each time you use them. So you really have to gauge if it's worth it or not. A lot of times it is worth it, because you're going to take less power from using your area attacks than you would getting beat up by these actual guys. So and now you've made it to the top of the boat. This is the last section of this level. Now they throw some jetpack guys in the mix, and not 1, not 2, but 3 jetpack guys flying everywhere, taking shots at you. You can barely even grab anybody, because as soon as you grab them, one of those jetpack guys hits you from the top or from below. So yeah, it really gets interesting from here on throughout the game. Your next big wave will be against these guys. These ninja guys we already discussed. They're a pain in the ass, and that's why I died as Max, because I just couldn't handle. There's so many of these dudes. So I'm gonna go ahead and try to jump back in game as soon as I can. You get 3 continues, so I'm gonna pick Max again. And you know this music means the boss is coming up. So the trick here, if you want to make things easier on yourself, is don't go too much further. Fight this fat guy and don't let the screen go over too much. The last thing you want to do is have to fight all these guys and the boss at the same time. It just makes everything way more harder than it needs to be for yourself. And there'll be 2 turkeys in those crates, full power, and that's the main boss right there. And he's a slippery one. He's another one. You can't really grab him. You can, but you gotta be lightning quick to grab this guy. You can break out of anything, and then he has that dragon punch that you saw him just perform on my guy. And then as you see, he can headbutt you too. So one thing that my brother has showed me is skate is right there. He knows how to like get him in that corner and spin on the ground, which makes him do the uppercut, and then lets him grab him, and then he quickly throws him and keeps repeating. It's hard to get him in that position, but if you can, as you can see, it's really useful. And he broke out, but anyway, you get the idea. So that's what we try to do. It doesn't always work perfectly. And as you can see, as soon as I grabbed him, I did all my moves hella fast because he would just broke out and pop me. So level 5 is cleared, on to the beach. right off the bat, the first guys you see are these pain in the ass ninja guys. That kind of like sets the tone for the level right off the bat. So you know you've reached the end of this section once you get to about right here where the beach starts, and then you have to fight all of these kickboxer dudes. And just get used to seeing these kickboxers for the rest of the game because they just keep throwing them at you. So they'll start you off with 2 turkeys right off the bat because they know that beginning part was just such a pain in the ass. And you're gonna work your way down this street. So you're gonna work your way down, you're gonna fight these fat guys. Then after the fat guys, you're gonna have to fight a wave of these motorcycles, dropping little bombs and grenades. Some good news is there are some apples down there, as you can see, and then immediately once you get to this section, you have to fight these 2 chicks with the whips and the biker guys. So once you finish defeating the 2 chicks, you'll commence to the boss area. There'll be 2 turkeys like any other boss for you if you guys really need it. And so there's no new character, they just throw a bunch of old characters you've already fought before. And so you can see you have the Blanca guy, and then you got 3 flying guys to deal with. Just total mayhem ensues. The only real strategy I can tell you is do your best. That's all I can say is do your best, try to time it right, and get the hits in when you can, because everything's just all over the place. Skate makes it look really easy in this video, but it's not that easy. Stage 6 cleared, just 2 more stages to go. So the next stage is you're in some type of factory where they make these robots, and spoiler alert, the last boss for this level will be one of the robots that they're making in the factory. So you're going to fight a few more waves till you get to this section, and there is a free man up here as well. It's in a crate. You can see it right there. Max is trying to go for it and having a little trouble. There are also 2 turkeys in the canister to give you some full health if you can get to it. Let's see if Max can do it without dying. This is basically the last section, I should say, this is the last part of this first section of this level. You just gotta get through these guys. So be ready to break a sweat right about here, because shit gets real up this elevator. It's probably the most intense part of the whole game, going up this elevator. They basically just throw everybody under the sun that you've ever come across in the game at you in this elevator. To their credit, I can at least say at least they gave you 2 turkeys to start, because I know you're going to need them. So you mainly get the point. You're gonna fight waves of these guys. Followed by a wave of these kickboxer assholes. Finally, Skate dies on his first continue in the entire game and switches to Axel. That should make things definitely interesting. And then next you have this wave of enemies. And if you can get through all that, you've made it to the top where you have to fight the boss, and you have to fight a few robots up here. These guys are really tricky. As you can see, they have those ball and spike things going on. They're almost impossible to grab, and anytime you even get close to them, they do that thing where they just twirl their balls around and it knocks you upside the head, like you saw what just happened to Max. You definitely have to have a feel for these enemies because they're definitely extremely hard. So with these guys, there's some type of trick. Once they leave the screen, my brother knows how to stay on the side of the screen and keep hitting them while they're not even in the screen yet. So if you can get that down and get the timing down, you definitely have a good shot of beating this section of the level or beating these bosses way easier. So level 7 has been cleared and we're on to the final level of this game after all that. So the first enemy that greets you is another robot. How about that? So you'll fight your way through this wave. Then they're going to sprinkle in that boxer in the mix to make things more interesting for you. One thing I will say is this second encounter of this guy is a lot easier than the first time. You can kind of get away with some things you couldn't get away with the first time you fought him. You can grab him a little bit easier, and so yeah, at least he's not as big of a pain in the ass as he was the first time. some more elevator action. So they'll start you off with these normal guys, I would say. And they're going to drop the bartender down in the mix. And I think this is about the third time now you've seen him in game. But just like we talked about with the boxer, all these enemies that they're about to drop down on you are a lot easier than the first time you encountered them. That's really the only good news I can give you about all this. So next they'll sprinkle in some regular enemies, and then they're going to drop this Blanca guy down on you. Looks like I died again, so I'm down to my last continue, and to switch things up, I'm going to pick Blaze. Now we have the Ultimate Warrior, and this is the last group until you reach the top. And now you've reached the top. So you got Mr. X. Right hand man Shiva. You're gonna have to fight Shiva first. And you're gonna have to fight Shiva with a whole bunch of ads, just like all the other bosses throughout the game, to kind of interfere with you zeroing in on him. This guy is all about timing. As you can see, if you get anywhere near this guy, he already has a roundhouse kick waiting for you. You can't grab him. He grabs you so freaking fast. So you really try hard to kind of like get someone on each side of him and get a hit in on him. And you're going to find yourself using your AoE or your area attack a lot, or your area special I should say, a lot, because that's kind of one of the only ways to get this guy off of you, and it doesn't even work all the time when you try it that way. Alright, here goes the final boss, Mr. X. He just hops out of his chair and just smacks the shit out of my character. So one of the coolest things I've ever seen when this game came out is Mr. X shoots not only you, but he shoots his own dudes. He just doesn't give a fuck. It's like one of the most awesome things I've ever seen in video games, because usually in video games, the bad guys can never hit each other. They only can hit you. So I like that they added that. It made it hilarious of the first time ever playing this game. We were like, what the hell? This dude is so crazy. He shoots his own cats. So what we always try to do, you see that corner he's in, that right hand corner? We always try to just sneak up on him and someone get on one side of him and just attack him there. That just seems to be the side he really likes to get on. But unfortunately, they have enemies that are outside the screen and they creep up on you, so you really got to be really good about being quick and hitting them hard. And you can see there's some type of miscommunication because Axel was about to hit him and then I accidentally kicked him and Axel. But you get the idea, so just have someone waiting for him to go up there on that side. It makes this whole fight easier. It's not very hard. It's not a very hard fight. It just takes knowing what you gotta do. And there it is. Game.